All right, Chris, good morning. We are
All
live.
right. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to another DIY-RoboCar's virtual race. Today, we're going to have a relatively small group. Next month will be a larger, next race will be a larger group. To remind everybody how this works, we alternate between virtual races and in-person races in the real world. Last month was in person at Circuit Launch in Oakland for the Robot Block Party. And today is virtual using our very cool simulator. To explain more about things, let me introduce Jack Silberman and Maxine Ellerbach. Jack, you are. Let's start with you. What's new?
Uh, we have a new house, so we have a big pipe now going to the internet, Chris. I mean, it's all relative, right? We talk about 1 gigabit per second now. We all got excited. Probably 6 months from now, people will be talking about 5 or more. So, but at this point, we can leave the server running 24 times 7 if you want. So I see people taking advantage of enforced learning, so they can just keep running their model on the server versus running their own machine. And we have a bigger pipe to the internet. So that's new.
Excellent. Oh, Jack, you're muted.
Oops, yeah, that's about it. So
Okay,
that's,
good.
that's the new part of it. Hardware-wise, kind of look the same. The internet provider different, and then the house with it, the server is also a little bit different.
So Jack is the server master running out of UC San Diego. Meanwhile, Maxine is the simulation master running out of Paris, I think. Good morning, Maxine. What's new with you?
So there is a lot of there were a lot of issues last time. Maybe didn't notice it, but there were some performance issues on this track. So I fixed those, and with some other dumb issues. I mean the regular stuff, and that's pretty much about it. No new track. But I mean, there is an updated track, if you may. That is the Robo Racing League track. So that's the track we are racing in Paris. So we changed the track layout. So I changed it in the sim. So yeah, that's it.
Cool. So let's get straight to the racers. Jack, if you can switch to the spreadsheet. Show everybody what we'll have 6 racers today, and we're gonna do them 2 by 2. As always, the racers have trained models locally at their own machines, and those models will be running virtual cars. So the way it works is that just like in the real world, you'd have a car with a camera. The camera would see images, the car would have a computer on board, and the computer would use a neural network or some other technique to evaluate the images and steer. In this case, the images are created by the simulator. The car is actually just running as a virtual car in software on the racer's own machine. And so they, rather than getting the images from a camera, they're getting the images over the internet from the simulator. And rather than sending commands out to an actual car, they send the commands back to the server, which drives a virtual car in the simulator. So to see this all at work, Corey and Tony, are you ready to race?
Sure. Give me 1 second to start things up.
Corey and Tony are now going to join the server. Just this is an IP address, and
so Chris, I'm racing for Tony, so I have one of those auto start to keep things easy. Okay. So as soon as I say race is ready, then I will fire up at my end. Corey, don't think that because I may have started early for Tony that you in disadvantage. The time start only when you cross the start line. So
okay.
That
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get my butt kicked anyway. So
and
I've seen the times.
Sorry, Jack, you can switch to the track view.
I did. It just take a couple seconds.
Very good. Okay. So the one marked car is, I presume, Dmitry?
It looks to be me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably
then-
Corey.
And Jack, your car will, when I say go, your car will just automatically appear. Is that?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do as quick as say race is ready, then I'm gonna fire up, and then take
Okay.
a second or so.
Okay, so the first car we see there is Corey, and the other car will be Tony, and it will appear shortly. Okay, so Corey, are you ready?
Sure.
Jack, are you ready with Tony?
It's fired up already. Should be coming up.
Should I wait for the car to appear?
Oh, I think it just went.
There it is. Oh, okay. Did Corey go? And the time will start.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. The time will start when you cross the line. So
I thought I saw a car in front of me, so I started going.
So
no, that's all.
next time
It's all good. It's, to be honest, me saying go actually has no effect. Your time starts when you cross the start line. So Tony's
It is
looking very
going.
fast. Tell us, Jack, tell us something about Tony's technique.
Yeah, Tony, I think is pushing the envelope here. Chris is, I believe, one of the first races that did reinforced learning, so he can basically set some award functions and let the robot train him itself. So it's pretty impressive. And I've seen him several days, or I guess during the night for him and during the day or the other way around. And he have been using the server quite a bit.
So Tony's using reinforcement learning, where you give the, Jack, you're muted again.
Probably not. I'm not talking so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So no worries. So Tony's using reinforcement learning, where you give rewards. Oh, Corey just went off the track, but got a couple good laps in there, so you've got times on the board. So Tony was using reinforcement learning, where you give you give objective functions. So you sort of say, hey, we reward the car for staying on the track, we punish the car for going off the track, and it figures things out. But Corey, tell us more about your technique.
Yeah, so I'm just getting started with this and meant to do more before this race, but this is just using the Donkey Car software in the basic Keras linear model. So it's trained by me driving around the track, and looking to try some reinforcement learning stuff later, because that seems like one of the best approaches for this type of thing.
Well, so one might think so. So Corey is doing what's called behavioral cloning, where you drive around manually and the neural network sort of learns from you. What you'll find, Corey, is that reinforcement learning is a great way to win in the simulator. It's a terrible way to win in the real world. The models just don't translate to the real world. So the only way you're going to, so behavioral cloning is the way to go for the real world. And so the skills you've learned will be useful. Okay, so we have a race record of 18.56 is the fastest lap. Next up is going to be Dmitry versus, I can't see, the screen's in the way, but who's this should be Dmitry versus Rainer. Is that correct?
Yeah, sorry. This is the version with the ghost version.
Okay.
I had some problems of setting. I'm using reinforcement learning mode, so it's a first timer for us.
Okay, and Dmitry, are you also reinforcement learning or behavioral cloning?
No, I'm using a behavioral cloning. That's my favorite so far.
What kind of learning?
Behavioral cloning.
Behavioral cloning. Very good. Okay, so once again, reinforcement learning versus behavioral cloning. Racers, are you ready?
Yes.
On your mark, get set, go. And they're both off. This looks like a real race. So Dmitry takes the lead. Rainer is hot on his tail. Ooh, Rainer's trying to pass on the inside. Very clever. But Dmitry's really holding tough here. These cars are very well matched. So this is interesting. This is reinforcement learning versus, and Rainer went off the track. and reset. So Dimitri looks like he's going to be the winner here. We're doing 3 laps, by the way. For
Rainer,
some reason,
that reset is automatically, or you have to do that on your own, or your model know when something happened and trigger to restart? What
Yeah,
is the...
that's a leftover. I should disable for training. I use for training the model resets and starts a new episode, and that should be switched off for the race mode. So I haven't dealt with that yet.
So both cars are running well, but Dimitri's is extremely solid and turns out to be fast as well. So when we're at 3 laps, we'll conclude this race. Oh, boom. And a crash to end it all. That's probably a good place to end, if I'm not mistaken. So Rainer's time is 20.76, which is a super solid time. And Dimitri has an 18.71, which puts him in 2nd place. Oh, Dimitri versus Tony is going to be a hell of a race, but they're very close. Okay, I think our last racer, it's going to be on a standalone. It's going to be Victor. Is there anybody else who I've missed? Anybody else who intends to race? No? Okay, Victor. Sergey has a connection problem, so he can't do it. So Victor, you're up.
All right, I fired up the thing here, but it's not working very well. I use the same settings as on the chat.
Okay. We're waiting for you to log into the server.
How do I log into the server?
So can you make sure that the lines that you have on the chat has been either comment out on your myconfig.py or just replace? For example, the most important is when you see the donkey's gym, that should be how you train. So that should not be changing. Then you have the donkey gym environment name. That's the track. Probably most likely haven't changed because you train on that same track. Then comes the most important is path that says remote. So donkey sim and then path equal remote. And then you have them to say, hey, sim host, and you have to put that sim host. So this is the 2 most important things for you to change. And then if you by any chance you use an artificial latency, then you have to put that artificial latency also to 0. So basically 3 lines that to change.
Yeah, I got those lines in and it's not connecting very well.
They find not connecting very well. What's happened?
Trying to go again.
Do me a favor. Can you ping? Open a terminal, see if you can ping remote. I'm sorry, donkey. That's a dash right sim dot robotics dot dev. See if you can ping that machine. Let's see if by any chance you block it.
Yeah, I can ping it.
Yeah, so that means you can see it. It's really 3 lines. The only problem is if you just cut and paste the lines and you have something after that, just like Python, and then override your previous settings, right? For example, if you have another sim host, that's basically, let's say, your local IP address, just after you write this, then you're going to override and not be able to use that. That has to be the only line or be the last line for that. So it's basically 3 lines that they have to change. If you...
Yeah, I'm looking for the symbols here. I think that's the problem. Just a second.
Okay. Chris, what else? Talk to us about what do you think is the next step on us using the simulator and racing? You think, I agree with you, right? Like in frost learning on the railroad, unless you have someone to reset the robot for you all the time for the beginning, then it is hard. But do you see some way that people can use a hybrid, something a little bit different? What do you think is happening? Oh, Vitor is here already. Okay, cool.
I got lost somewhere in there. Reduce that to a question.
Yeah. So what is next? And then if one side you have the behavior cloning people have been doing, the other side you have reinforcement learning. You can have just a regular OpenCV racer, right? So there's 3 techniques we have see people using here. Then what is the next, you think?
So the future, the way to go fast is localization. knowing where you are on the track. And so the cars that are going fastest right now in the real world are those that are using things like cone slam. So they're looking at the cones, or they're looking at the lights above, or they're using GPS outside. But if you localize, then everything gets super easy. You go fast in the straightaways, you know what's coming, you know what your racing lines are. So that's by far the best way. And the question is, how do we do that with Donkey? And there's a new build coming that uses various different techniques to localize. You can localize with GPS, of course, outside. You can localize with something like the Intel RealSense T265 position sensor. You can localize with LiDAR, and you can localize with encoders that kind of measure your position on the track. So that notion of a path follower is how to go super fast. Everything else is pretty much as it was. Traditional deep learning techniques, reinforcement learning, simple supervision, and behavioral cloning. But right now, nothing is as fast as localization.
Okay. Victor, you want to give a shot to make sure it works? We'll do a little quick test before we take your time.
Sure. It's just that I trained for the circuit launch, but it's going to be fun.
Oh.
All right. There's Victor. All right. Victor, good to see you again. Sorry, I hadn't realized it was the same Victor. Terrific. So are you ready to go?
Yeah. Is it with the remote control that I press start and it goes?
Exactly as, yeah, I think that's right. Just exactly as you would in the real world. So on your mark, get set, go. We'll find out.
It's saying starting vehicle, but it's not going. I'm going to set it to auto, so it goes with the AI. Just a second.
Correct. That's the way you want to go. So Victor did quite well at circuit launch last month and trained it for that track. Sometimes this track is actually a simulation of circuit launch, but today it's not. So his car probably will not do brilliantly, but that's okay.
My bad, didn't know that.
Yeah, no worries. There you go. Oh, almost. Okay. Start when you're ready. There you go. Okay. And so that happens. That's just being trained on the wrong track. But no worries. We could try again, but I think the same thing will happen.
Yeah, he wants to go to circuit launch.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Well, look, you've learned a little bit about how to connect to the server, and so now you can connect to the server on your own time and train on the server. So
maybe you can run on the circuit launch. I mean, if you're okay.
You want to switch tracks?
Yeah, maybe just for the fun.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. So, Victor, we're going to give you the circuit launch track, and let's see how you do.
All right.
I think let's just restart the server.
Yeah. So, Jack, if you can go to the circuit launch. So press exit and then just reselect the track. Yep.
There you go. Does that look for more? There you go, Victor. So I don't think you were in auto mode. Maybe you were, but.
Let me try it again.
Okay. Again. This one look more familiar?
Yes, very much so.
So, Victor, when you race on the circuit launch, did you use the full Donkey framework or did something different?
The full Donkey framework, behavioral cloning.
Okay.
There you go. Dude.
That's better.
Yeah, a little better.
Yeah, that's good.
And the random cone gets you. This is awesome. See, there's the difference between training and not training.
So, Maxine, since we're talking about this, what's the next? What's the next track? what you have been cooking for us? So haven't started cooking yet.
Honestly, I have no idea. But
You mentioned that you have a track that you race in France. Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
ready for you too? Yeah.
I mean, if you want, yeah, sure.
I think what we should do is that, Chris, like if every 2 or 3 races, we go for another track around the world that to the best as we can make similar to what people race. If they help us build the track, that would be super cool.
That'd be great. Okay. So Victor, congratulations. This is awesome. You should feel super happy about this. By the way, Victor is one of these racers who basically started with nothing, kept coming and learning and building and training. And it's here you go. It works.
Thank
Victor,
you very much,
any words of encouragement to others who might follow your path?
just keep trying, keep going.
He's got a very supportive family as well, as I recall.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Okay, let's call that a success, and let's move on to the last race, I think, which was this is probably going to be. We'll probably just have the 2 fastest times. Let's see. So it looks like the best race is going to be. Actually, should we do 3 at the same time?
We can do 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we do Tony, Dimitri, and Rainer?
Let's go.
Who are all at the same time.
Yeah, that would be fun.
They should all be within a second or so of each other. Okay, we've got Dimitri. And Jack, you tell me that Tony's just going to show up instant, at the moment I say go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to synchronize with you. Get ready. 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay. All right. So actually, you don't want to land on top of them, so you might want to wait a second. Dimitri and Rainer, are you ready?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. On your mark, get set, go. All right. Racers are over. Tony's going.
Yeah, if Tony's as fast as we saw before, he may be able to catch up. So.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so let's just keep them running. So far, everyone's running really well. The Dimitri versus Rainer race is going pretty much as it was before, which is to say very close, but Dimitri Rainer's a smidge behind. But Tony is catching up on both of them. Let's see how Tony passes. My goodness, look at that. Okay. Rainer, you should be able to see. No, they're actually all really well matched. Tony's not taking the best racing lines. Is he even closing?
Let me check. Yeah, he is.
Okay, so if we let this run long enough.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. We have time.
Yeah. Okay, but Dimitri, you're crushing it. Look at that.
So nice to see some solid models, Chris. Look at that.
Yeah.
If you look at something like this, you think there's no effort that went into it, huh?
Yeah. Rainer, your car's running better. Did you change something?
Yes, I took the wrong model, the old one, and I that's what why it was no signs on it. I corrected that, and I haven't found all the errors, but there was quite a lot in, and that works even better.
Ooh,
now.
Tony just passed you. Sorry, sorry to interrupt, but what
Nice.
a race! Oh my goodness, he reset you.
Yeah, sorry for about that.
But that was a good pass.
So, Rainer, since you did the transition from behavior cloning to reinforced learning, you just wanted to learn for the fun of it, primarily. What's your experience?
Well, to be honest, last time I didn't made it into the ladder, and I thought, well, I need to do something better, and so I followed the workshop, the very good and great workshop by Tony, and that's why I mentioned him here for a big thank you, and that helped me to enter reinforcement learning, and it's quite fun. but it's really very hard, as he stated. But I think there's there's much more in it, as we see. Grant, I think, oh no, Tony has something like 18.4 or 18.5 seconds. So I think it's a very fast model.
Explain to us what was the process, if you don't mind. So you went there, you saw the workshop that's online for other people that are interested in this. It's all online. You can follow. There is no cost for you to use the server, no cost for the software. You can just follow some of the videos and come in. And then what? What do you do?
Well, I basically followed his two workshops and installed the stable baselines. That is the library he's developing for reinforcement learning. There is a second GitHub repo about the stable baseline zoo that has all the scripts for you for training and later on enjoying the model you've trained. And it's Tony explained that to us. And there's a third part you need to do in before is you need to train an autoencoder, because the whole image cannot go into the reinforcement learning model, because that would blow up your memory. So you need to have a much smaller model, and then you do by training an autoencoder. That's written by Tony as well, and is well documented in the repo and in the workshop video. So I think if you link or follow the two workshop videos by Tony, that would be a very good entrance in reinforcement learning.
So you don't need a powerful machine at home. So your training happen at the server itself?
Well, I'm training on my local machine. It's an NVIDIA 2090 Ti. So not a very big graphic card, but well, I trained for several days, to be honest. And I learned from Tony, he's able to achieve much faster times in much slower training times. So I think he has some more secrets in his experience. Yeah.
But let's say if I don't have a GPU, a powerful GPU, 20 something, a 1080 and above, could someone then just keep training on the server, because you just push a container to the server and then use the GPU from the server and then just keep running there? Is that feasible? Because I saw Tony several times when he was starting, he was training on the server. What I'm trying to get to is that the workshops are there, it's free, right? Then all the source code is free, and then you can still train on the server free, right? So it's anybody with a small machine, you don't have to get anything fancy. Without no and video cards nowadays are hard to buy anyway. But anyway, to try to the point is that could someone then just train on the server and don't spend money buying a GPU that would be relatively expensive?
Yeah, I think Tony's training on his own machine and then running it on the server. But there's a possibility to use Google Colab, for example, and train there. And there is a good method, or a good weights and biases, went.ai, can post in the link, that he's using. I just learned about it 2 days before, and that's very helpful, because he even published studies of different hyperparameters, which is very helpful if you're a beginner, to see what is the effect of the different hyperparameters, like cross-track error maximum, or well, the steering range, things like that.
All right, the last thing, Chris, I would like to pose a challenge here, and then maybe Maxine, you tell us how realistic it is. If we give the racers maybe 3 parameters they can optimize on the car, because everybody has the same physics now, right? Mm-hmm. Is there possible that somewhere there we can give 3 parameters and then the racers can optimize besides the AI? Now you take a little bit of the kinematic of the car.
You know, I know what you're saying. And in general, we've always said it's not about the car. You know, that's why we had a standard donkey chassis to kind of level the playing field, make it a, you know, a stock racer, if you will. So now I worry that it's supposed to all be about software and training. And I wonder whether we're complicating the whole thing if you let people.
But it's not the real world anymore, right? George has a very powerful, nice, well-built robot, and he has a very nice one.
the reality is George goes fast because of software. Not, I mean, you could take a fast, the same chassis and the worst software, and you would not do well.
Yeah, but you could do the other way around. You cannot get a donkey chassis and go as fast as George and they're going.
You
I
could.
can tell you.
I think you could.
But
I think
I
you
don't
could.
think it. I mean, you have
Just
to
change
see
the
that
motor.
Maxine. You have to see Maxine is just like the CG is so high. It's a whole other discussion, right? But those are like race grade RC chassis. But yeah, so the point, Chris, is just the idea was just people don't have to use it, right? But if they want to use it, then it's something else to do a little bit of the dynamic of the robotics, and then see if you let it go, people to optimize. It's just suppose an idea on that. How hard it would be, Maxine? Before Chris answered that, I'm sorry.
It's
How
not,
hard it would be?
it's not hard.
Could you pass parameter for the physics?
Absolutely, it's not hard. But as Chris said, maybe it's not I mean, maybe it's not where we want to go. I mean, if someone just joins the community and has those default parameters, he won't have the same chance as someone that's tweaked them for 5 hours, let's say.
Yeah.
So that's my point of view. I mean, I prefer to have everyone with the same car, same physics, and just have the software that differs. That's my point of view.
I agree. I think this is really software versus software, training versus training.
Yep.
You shouldn't be able to get a fast car and train worse and still win. So let's see the times. Let's put them in. I think I think Dimitri won.
I'm not sure about that.
Let me fill the time lapse. I mean the lap times. Okay, so
I have 57.95 for 3 laps.
Yeah, I have those.
So
okay, then Dimitri. So
ooh, 1874, so close. You're right. Tony was a little faster. Rainer, nice time, 1923. Way better than before. 1911. Okay, look how close that is. All right, so there's our final times. The fastest lap goes to Tony with 18:53. The second fastest lap goes to it's the second fastest racer is Dimitri at 18:74, and then then Rainer at 19:11. So all really good, really fast racers, and I think that's it for today. Any last words, Jack and Maxime?
No, so I think maybe next time we'll leave the server up running a little bit longer, or in theory, I could just keep leaving running. The only problem is that if you don't have the latest track, they're going to be racing, so that won't help much. But we'll think this over, Chris, and I will have much more flexibility of leaving this server up and running if you want. Okay.
And then you'll get back to me about where we should go outdoors, maybe in San Diego, maybe see you in San Diego next month.
Yeah. So I'll talk to you also, because the students will be training probably to go indoor by that time. So we may want to do a swap. I'll let you know, because outdoor are going to be yet another challenge for them.
Okay.
It's early in the quarter, so I'll let you know.
So I think if it's going to be indoors, I probably won't come down. If it's going to be outdoors, I will. If you guys can't do outdoors in May, then we might do it outdoors up here in the Bay Area.
Okay.
At Circle. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. See you next time.
See you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.